Hello everyone, Kino Supremo here, and welcome to Kino Therapy. I'm hard at work on the next director's retrospective video I'm doing, hard at work on it. I just wanted to come out with another video to sort of ease you guys, you eager, raging fans I have. But yeah, the point of this channel was to introduce people into more artistic cinema, get people more into cinema. Maybe people who wanted to get into it but didn't know where to start. So yeah, that's why I started doing this video, covering these filmmakers. Problem with all these directors I've been covering so far is they're all dead. But I feel like a good way to get people into cinema now is to tell people about the new directors, the ones working today, the up and coming directors, the ones to keep your eye on. So yeah, that's gonna be what I'm doing for this video. It's gonna be a little rambly. I kind of just listed off some directors that I want to mention. Yeah, here we go. Here are the top filmmakers that you should keep an eye on. The first director that comes to my mind is Robert Eggers. This guy has such a powerful voice in cinema right now. He's done the horror film The Witch. He's done the recent The Northman, and of course the total brain trip that was The Lighthouse. All his films so far have been period pieces, and what he's really good at is the dialect. He makes the people talk like they did back then, and it might be hard to understand, but I really don't think it is. I think you can watch it and still understand like what's happening here. The Northman was definitely his most accessible film, so check that out. The Lighthouse is his best, though. He is so impeccable at cinematography and atmosphere. His films are just so pleasing to watch, so cinematic. One of my favorite directors working today is Yorgos Lanthimos. Hailing from Greece, making a lot of his films in the English language. His films are bizarre and dark and very uncomfortable at times. You might not get into Yorgos Lanthimos very easily. His films are very dissonant. However, they're also kind of comedies at the same time. They do manage to sort of showcase these dark parts of humanity while also making it very enjoyable. He often balances a disturbing and comedic tone. They're not really funny, but they're just you kind of laugh at yourself in like an uncomfortable way. His films are also just like the framing, the visuals of them are just so strange that it's kind of inviting but also off-putting at the same time. Another director I'm looking forward to seeing more of is Trey Edward Schultz. Starting with a very dark drama, going from horror, then to his last film, Ways, which was one of my favorite films of 2019. Again, his cinematography is just incredible. He makes good use of aspect ratio. He likes to change that and sort of change the dynamic as you're watching his films. Very talented filmmaker so far. He's able to showcase the effects of drugs, family, isolation. Waves is so far his most optimistic film, and really showing just how the negative can bring out the positives. Sean Baker is a rising rebel voice. He seems like a very nice guy, but his films are very trashy. They really explore this kind of gritty side of humanity. His film Tangerine was shot all on an iPhone, which got him a lot of attention. It's basically about like it follows these transsexual prostitutes in this very rundown Tinseltown sort of area. His films are funny, but they really don't hide the social upheaval that these characters live in their day-to-day lives. Ari Aster is another rising voice. I'm not sure how I feel about Ari Aster. He's only made 2 films, and so far I like him. Hereditary is one of the most critically acclaimed horror movies for a while, and I really like that one. Midsommar was a very unique film. I wasn't completely into that, but it's a very good film. It really sets apart these horror tropes, and the story that goes on in the center of that is very interesting. So yeah, a lot of people are excited to see what he does, so keep an eye on Ari Aster. I'll throw out Alex Garland real quick. He did like science fiction, philosophical stuff, which I'm really into. His latest film, Men, was a very trippy body horror movie. People were very divided on that. I can just recommend see it for yourself. Damien Chazelle is another great up-and-coming director. His film Whiplash was one of the best movies of the decade. La La Land and First Man were really great dramas. La La Land really bringing back the whole musical. That's just a delightful film for people to watch. Steve McQueen is a British black director. I feel like his films have gone have decreased slightly. Not that much. Not that much. It's just his first two efforts were incredible. Hunger and Shame. Highly recommend those films. Very searing dramas about protesters in a prison. And Shame is such an excellent film. Such a powerful film. Really, really stubbornly showing just the true nature of humanity in its most horrible and also wonderful ways. Taika Waititi has gotten some criticism over time. I feel like people don't like him as much. I'm still holding out for Taika. I love Boy, Hunt for the Wilder People. Those are some of my favorites. Yeah, I know he's doing Thor movies now, and Jojo Rabbit wasn't quite as great as some of his other ones. However, he is one of the best at visuals as far as comedy goes. Comedy directors do not give a crap about cinematography anymore. Taika Waititi really does, though. His films are very funny, but his characters are so well written. The arcs they go through, you feel really close to what these characters go through. You feel really intimate with them while also laughing at them. The Safdie brothers, their last two films, they've made more than two films. Their last two are the only ones I've seen. Almost a new sort of neo-noir, if you will. The characters they show are very unlikable, despicable people, but just the pacing of these is so quick. There's so many cuts and editing. The cinematography is all done in close-up. It's very claustrophobic and very quick pace. It's very uneasy in anxiety-ridden neo-noir thrillers. Very unique styles of film. I recommend Good Time and Uncut Gems. They're kind of funny at times. They're mostly just very hard-hitting, anxiety-inducing films. This is a very divisive director, Darren Aronofsky. He's a director who I am a fan of. He's made some pretty good movies. He's also very much about shock value, and I can understand why people might not like him. If you want to get into him, I recommend something like The Fountain or The Wrestler. Those are a little more easier to digest. But films like Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream, I think those are such great films that I think you should at least give a watch. His newest film, The Whale, about Brendan Fraser being fat, is coming out. I can see why people don't all like him. Going abroad now, not just the best directors working today in America, but all over the world. One of my favorite directors of all time is Hirokazu Kurita. Kurita has been working since about the 90s, but he's been making some really great films all throughout his career. He just released Shoplifters, which is one of his best films in my opinion. He's very much like Yasujiro Ozu. His films really examine the simplicity of life. He is so good at just portraying mundane life and, just showing the true spirit of characters and reality. He still has things to say. There is often drama going on, but we spend these small, quiet moments with characters, and that really connects us to them more. That's why I love his films. I love simplicity, and Hirokazu Kurita is such a master at that. One of the other great directors of Japanese realism, so to say, is Ryusuke Hamaguchi. He just made Drive My Car, this 3-hour epic just exploring the human soul. Again, much like Kurita, his films are so good at simplicity. You really feel a connection to these characters. They feel so real, so lived in. Almost forgot about the wonderful Naomi Kawase. Her films elegantly celebrate the gentleness of the human spirit in both nature and modernity. Maybe you're a big anime fan. Anime nowadays, the movies are a little weird. Satoshi Kon is dead. Studio Ghibli is practically dead. But some of the best anime directors working now would be Makoto Shinkai. His visuals in his films are so good. He's really good at lighting and colors. He's made a whole range of films. Some of them are very realistic. Some of them are very fantastical. But either way, I think they're all good, or most of them anyway. Mamoru Hosoda has been working for a while too. He has a few films. Some of them are a little hit and miss. I'm not big on Summer Wars, despite that being one of his most famous films. But the ones he's made since then, I feel are pretty good. So if you like anime, there's tons of anime out now. Anime is it's rising in popularity. There's tons of fans all over the world. So yeah, I wouldn't call myself an anime fan. Some of it is well, for lack of a better word, cringe. But yeah, there's some great stuff out there. So yeah, go ahead and look it up. Going to Iran, I don't want to get too much into this issue, but there's a lot of crap going down in Iran right now. Great directors like Jafar Panahi are currently imprisoned. I check out Jafar Panahi's films. I don't know if he's gonna make any more films in the future. Try to support him if you can. Uh, Probably the most successful Iranian filmmaker is Asghar Farhadi. They deal with a little social commentary at times, but they're almost like drama mysteries. That's the best way I can describe it. They're very engaging dramas, but like there's also something at stake, and then the end just kind of reveals something in this great twist. And but it's very subverted in this drama. Other directors like Mohsen Makhmalbaf, a few other directors are also trying to fight change in Iran and being arrested and imprisoned for it. So look into that. Look into what other Iranian filmmakers there are. Heading over to Sweden, the home of Ingmar Bergman, we have Ruben Östlund. I just got into this filmmaker. His films are very, very interesting, so to say. They're comedic, yet they're serious. They're disturbing at times. Very strange, but very funny. Almost like Yorgos Lanthimos, although not quite as extreme. One of the best working today is Roy Andersson. His films are very idiosyncratic. Think like a very Wes Anderson, but like even more depressed. Almost like plays. The camera never moved. It just shows the scene play out, and the scenes are very sad and depressing, but like they're also just kind of bizarre and funny. He's a very, very unique filmmaker. I recommend his films. Hilarious, sad, but you'll feel like you experienced something. Danish filmmaker Joachim Trier just did The Worst Person in the World, which I think is one of the best films of this decade so far, an instant classic. Nuray Bilge Ceylan, I hope I'm saying that right, is one of the best art house directors right now, dealing with very slow cinema. His films might be difficult for any newcomers to get into. His films are very slow, but they're very methodical, very meditative. It's hard to pin down what exactly one film of his is covering because we journey with these characters. We learn so much about them. They unravel so many existential things that they're going through. So each one of his films is kind of a character study, but it's also about a lot of things going on. Andres Zvyagintsev is very much in the same vein as Ceylan. Very art house film director. Very slow films. His films are a little more socially conscious rather than philosophically conscious. That doesn't mean his films are without any kind of human spirit. They're very great films. I might actually like him a little more than Ceylan. But if you really have the patience to sit through these films, they're so powerful. They really make you feel like you're learning about people from another nation. And that's one of the great things about cinema. These are the highest form of cinema you can really get to. It might take you a while. It might take some patience to really get into this kind of stuff. But if you really have the indulgence for it, I think you'll be highly rewarded. Unfortunately, Italy is not as prominent as it used to be. We have directors like Paolo Sorrentino, who's made some really good stuff. Kind of in the same vein as a lot of his cinematic ancestors. Films such as Il Divo, Youth, The Grand Beauty. They kind of have this sort of comedic side to it, but they're also very dramatic at the same time. Very delightful films. I recommend these. These are good places to start for any kind of new foreign movies. The director of Cinema Paradiso, Giuseppe Tornatore, he's still making some great stuff. Not quite as good as Cinema Paradiso, but it's all good. He's out there. He's still making some good stuff about his country, about people. So yeah, I recommend him. One of the most prominent French filmmakers out there are the Dardenne brothers. These guys are really good at balancing drama, but also very hopeful stories. I haven't seen too much from them, I'll be honest, but from what I've seen of them, I really like. Very, very heavy, but also very uplifting. I'm not a huge fan of Leos Carax, if that's how you say that. God, being a foreign film lover is so hard sometimes. But he's definitely a unique voice. Films such as Holy Motors are just very odd, very bizarre, but it's also kind of fun. Yeah, and that is also a strange film. Very strange, but kind of fun. Very visually interesting. So I recommend checking them out. One of the most famous French filmmakers working today is female director Claire Denis. Her films are very heavy, hard-hitting, very brutal thriller dramas that, whether they examine social realism or whether they explore just the the real disheartening nature of people, such as Beau Travail or High Life, a science fiction film. Her style is very disjointed a little bit. She likes to tell stories out of order, which can be a little hard to get into, but she's a very relentless filmmaker, and she deserves a watch. Another female French filmmaker is Céline Sciamma. That's probably pronounced wrong too. She just did Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Her films she's very good at telling stories about females or about anyone, really. Very good with visuals. She gets very good performances out of actors. Almost like Hirokazu Kurita, she is able to sort of portray just average life and able to make that a statement. Not just show it as beautiful, but make it this powerful, iconoclastic statement against the patriarchy. Very beautiful filmmaker. Check out Sciamma's films. Olivier Assayas is a filmmaker working in France. Again, very methodical indie art house films. Films such as The Clouds of Sils Marie or Personal Shopper really unravel the existential dread that humans really feel. But he does it in a beautiful way. He beautifies pain, but not too romantically. The Clouds of Sils Marie is more of an examination on art and, the entertainment industry as of now. But like all great directors, you're not going to find another one like him, so yeah, check out Olivier Assayas. One experimental filmmaker I am a big fan of is Gaspar Noé. Every one of his films is just trying to challenge the cinematic experience, how we watch films. Enter the Void is incredible. Climax, you will not find another film like Climax. Films like Irreversible is a story all told in reverse order. That's not one of my favorites of his, but everything he does is just so ambitious. You just got to appreciate it. Visually incredible. They are all such a unique experience, psychedelic, and just totally out of this world. You got to check him out. Heading south of the border to Mexico, we got Alejandro González Iñárritu, one of my favorite directors. I will not hear any of this Revenant hate, okay? The Revenant is awesome. Both Birdman and The Revenant came out in 2 consecutive years. They are both incredible in my opinion. He is very good at just doing really compelling, gripping dramas. Not super depressing, but depressing enough. Films such as Amaros Perros. He has a new film coming out soon. I'm very excited for that. Again, he's very a favorite of the Oscars, so check him out. Please check him out. But that leads us to another favorite, which is Alfonso Cuarón. He's been making films for a while too, about as long as Iñárritu. Very wide range. He's got the teen drama, Y Tu Mama Tambien. He's got the science fiction film, Children of Men. He's done Harry Potter, Gravity, Roma. Very talented director. Definitely watch his stuff. And I'll throw out Guillermo del Toro real quick of Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water, Hellboy. I think most people know who he is, but he's incredible too. Got a new Pinocchio movie coming out. I'm excited for that. This is another director I don't feel like I have to mention, but Jordan Peele. I think everyone knows who Jordan Peele is. That Get Out was hugely successful. Films like Us and Nope I enjoyed a lot. Nope is in theaters right now. It's been out for a while, but I think it's still in theaters. What I'll say is, if you want to make like a good horror movie and you want to know how to deliver information to an audience, watch Nope. Nope does that exceptionally well. It drops so many hints, so many clues. Not just that, just it tells us so much about like the characters and what's going to happen, all so cunningly and slyly, and you really don't even notice it when it happens. The film doesn't spoon feed you information. You just process it incognito, so to say, and then you realize it when it happens. The payoff happens. If you want someone a little more easier to get into, foreign directors like to showcase the brutalities of their nation, which is good. But if you want something a little more easier to get into, I recommend Noah Baumbach. One thing about Noah Baumbach is he is an incredible writer. He is so good at characters and writing arcs for them. Whether it's comedic or it's more on the serious side. Films such as Marriage Story, The Squid and the Whale. Frances Ha was great. Oh, man. Very relatable films. Very, very funny, very, very enjoyable. Speaking of Baumbach and Frances Ha, his girlfriend, Greta Gerwig, is making quite a name for himself. Films such as Lady Bird, Little Women were really good. She's doing a really good job at sort of capturing this coming-of-age youth voice in young women. that a voice that isn't really common in Hollywood or even the indie scene. So it's very good she's doing that. She's got the new Barbie movie coming out. I don't know if I'll see that or not, but well, she's getting to work. That's good. Heading over to documentary, Theo Anthony has only made 2 feature films, a few short films, but 2 feature films, and he is already getting so much praise and attention. What he does is he'll pick a subject. He'll pick like a very specific subject, but then he'll document all these other things. For instance, his film Rat Film. He'll document like the rat problem in Baltimore, and then he'll talk about police brutality and housing, and then he'll talk about like lab training and stuff like that. And what he does is he says something profound in the way that a fiction director would. He creates a mosaic of documentaries. He documents all these different parts that are just barely related to each other, and then puts it all together and makes a statement. It is incredible. It's an incredible style of filmmaking he does here. Theo Anthony. So yeah, definitely follow him. Give his films a watch. Yeah, give him some more attention as he goes along. Lulu Wang has also made 2 films. I did not see her first film, unfortunately. Her recent film, The Farewell, was very good. Much like Hirokazu Kurita or someone like that, it's a very simple film. It basically deals with a family as they're struggling with loss, grief, reconnection, family. There's a lot going on in this very simple story, but it's a very beautiful film. So yeah, Lulu Wang, and also Chloe Zhao, a Chinese filmmaker who recently won Best Picture with Nomadland. Then they let her direct Marvel's Eternals, unfortunately. A few duds in there, but whatever. Keep an eye on her. I did a whole video on South Korean films, so I don't think I have to talk about these guys for too long, but Park Chan-wook, Bong Joon-ho. Park is one of my favorite filmmakers. Both him and Bong are very high-energy films. The way they're able to balance tones, but be very direct and upfront. Super enjoyable, super intellectual films. Visually stunning. They are just incredible. South Korean cinema is just a blessing on us today. Please check them out. Ava DuVernay is one of the most potent voices so far, a female African-American filmmaker. Her films are brutal and blistering portrayals of racism in America here, with films such as When They See Us or 13. Much like Steve McQueen a little bit, but from a female perspective. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on her. She's gonna make some very good socially conscious films in the future. So please keep an eye on her. I'll also give a shout out to the Daniels, Daniel Kwan, and forget it. I'll also give a shout out to the Daniels, who just released Everything Everywhere All at Once, one of the most entertaining films to come out of the past few years. It is a stupendous action comedy. I didn't even know much about it going into it, so if you don't, keep it that way. I mean, everyone's talking about it. I have a feeling that you've at least heard of it. If not, you've definitely seen it. But if you haven't, then yeah, give it a watch. Highly entertaining, highly well made, super well choreographed fight scenes. It's mind-bending, it's funny, it's emotional, it's what every moviegoer wants from cinema. You know, it's what they want from a good movie-going experience. And they've signed a deal with Universal, I believe, so yeah, here's hoping that they do some really good stuff. Charlie Kaufman, famed screenwriter, then turned director with Synecdoche, New York. Please follow him. Despite his very impressive catalog, he is struggling financially. Because people don't want to see art. They would rather see Marvel movies and Jurassic World Dominion, go figure. But he is one of the most original voices that we've had for the past 20 years. His films are very Kafka-esque. They're very, very imaginative, sometimes funny, but they're at the same time, they're also very, very existentially dreadful. Despite the high imagination and sometimes humor, they're very heavy. They're very pessimistic. Even something like Being John Malkovich, the characters are all kind of despicable people. And in films such as Synecdoche or Anomalisa, it really examines the existential loneliness of humanity in such revealing ways that are very uncomfortable. But at the same time, it's coupled with this incredible imagination. He's just a genius. You gotta watch Charlie Kaufman. Very creative filmmaking that has influenced so many people for a while. After that, we got Wes Anderson, who's been making films since about the 90s. Yet his style is very much of today. Like when you think of like the best filmmakers working today, you think of Wes Anderson's style. You know, it's a very one of the most unique styles ever put to screen. His symmetry, his colors, his large cast, the cast he likes to work with, his deadpan comedy, his very quirky sense of telling stories. It's definitely made a very big cultural impact. Even if people haven't seen Wes Anderson's films, I feel like they're familiar with his style. I've seen enough people parody his work to be familiar with Wes Anderson. It's garnered some detractors, some people who aren't too fond of him, but for the most part, yeah, he makes some excellent films. He is just brimming with creativity. I'm almost amazed that he's able to just pump out these films so fast and so full of life. They're just so imaginative. It's really incredible. I'm really impressed by just how creative and how smart he is. One of the most notable Chinese filmmakers right now is Jia Zhangke. I really hope I say that right. Yeah, definitely one of the most prominent voices in Chinese cinema right now. Films such as A Touch of Sin, very dark thriller films, but they acknowledge that social realism and also the human condition at the same time. He is able to portray the darkness of humanity, but he does it in a sympathetic way, thinking that maybe something led people to do this, right? Maybe poverty or other obligations caused people to fall down this path. So very, very much exploring the dark, ugly side of humanity, but very, very intelligently, I'd have to say. And of course, at Piketapong Weerasethakul, I have been practicing that name for, oh god, ever since I heard him. I have fallen more and more in love with his films. They are beautifully poetic. They are Tarkovskian. They are pure spirituality, just streamed in this flow of consciousness in your head. It's like watching a dream. It's like watching a memory. It's watching past memories. I love these kind of transcendental, atmospheric films, and if you like that, definitely check him out. If you need to warm up to that, maybe hold off on them. But still, these are incredible films. These are the kind of films that the camera was invented for. He even has a film out right now called Memoria, starring Tilda Swinton. It is traversing through theaters all across the country, and it's apparently going to do that like till the end of time, which is kind of cool. It has been released on physical media if you do want to just get a hold of it. I recommend seeing this kind of movie in theaters, though. It is definitely the cinematic experience you want to have on a large screen in a dark room. Also, a little more contentious director, Shane Carruth. I first saw Upstream Color around the time it came out. That was a really pivotal film for me as far as like my filmmaking goes. Unfortunately, Shane Carruth turns out to be a real piece of yeah, I won't go into it too much. You can look it up yourself. Yeah, very, very awful human being. It's very sad. He made his films on like shoestring budgets, and it's doubtful anyone wants to work with him again. So, yeah, he's probably not going to make another film. Even if he did, I don't know if people would even want to support him. Again, separating the art from the artist. You can do that. But yeah, throw him out there. Primus, Upstream Color, Primus. Primer, Upstream Color, very good films. I'll instead recommend Amy Seimetz, responsible for mind-bending science fiction films. Very minimalistic, yet still profound experiences about human nature and science. And last but not least, Denis Villeneuve, who has made quite a name for himself in the mainstream studio world. Making films in Canada and then coming to America to make some very good films. He has not had a dud yet, and that is impressive. From 2013 to 2018, I believe, he put out a film every year, and they were all great. Most of his films are thrillers. You got the film Incendies, a absolutely devastating war movie. He has done other thrillers. He has done the science fiction film Arrival, which is other than science fiction, it's hard to even classify what that is. That movie plays around with narrative so much. He did the art house film Enemy, a film I absolutely adore. He did Blade Runner 2049, one of the best sequels in my opinion. He did that excellently, and then that gave him way to make Dune. Very excited for part two. Dune was setting things up. It needed to kind of go there, but I'm very excited to see where things go with Dune part two. So yeah, Denis Villeneuve is definitely the most talented director as far as like being employed by the studios. So yeah, you've probably heard of him. You've probably seen his films. Check out Denis Villeneuve. He is such a voice. He's going to be remembered for a very long time as just one of the giants of cinema in the 2000s. And yeah, I think that's about all I got right now. I'm sure there's some directors I missed. Go ahead and comment below. I'd love to see some. I bet the viewers of this video would love to see them as well. I'm sure there's some great ones I missed. I'm sure there are filmmakers who have just put out one film and it's really good, really promising. I just haven't heard of them. If you're looking for other things, just get more involved. We live in a great time to be a cinema lover. So watch more than just Marvel movies or Disney remakes. Join some online communities, online forums. Sure, there might be toxic people, but you know what? You're going to probably find some very good recommendations on there. Check out some film festivals. Doesn't mean you have to go to them, but, look at their lineup. See what films there are, which ones are getting attention, who they're directed by. There's all sorts of ways to find out what new up-and-coming directors there are to really keep your eye on today. Get involved in film festivals in your community, That's a great way to keep cinema alive and growing. Find some local filmmakers. Try to check out what films they have. Give it some love. That will make them feel, that will just mean the world to them. It is so hard. It is so much money and so stressful to make a film. And the fact that so little people are going to see some, indie filmmaker who just lives in some rural town, the fact that so few people are going to watch that is just disheartening. So yeah, get out there, explore obscure kinds of films from all corners of the globe. Try not to feel overrun by it. Don't feel burnt out. Don't feel like I should feel so bad that this is a little too mainstream. It's not obscure. The Northman isn't obscure enough. It's a little too normie. Don't get caught up in that. Just watch films at your pace. Watch the films you want to see. I encourage you to check out other films, but ease yourself into it. Don't force yourself to watch something or to like something that's beyond, that just goes over your head. It's okay to be confused and not understand something or not be engaged in something. So yeah, that's about all I have to say. Let me know who your favorite contemporary filmmaker is. As I said, like, comment, share, thumb the bell. Be sure to follow me on Letterboxd for upcoming reviews, single reviews. Go on Letterboxd, you might find a hint of the next director that I'm making a video on. Which, speaking of which, that video should be coming out soon. Okay, maybe not that soon. Maybe a few weeks. But hopefully soon. I am working hard on it. And I just wanted to put this video out there. I hope you guys discover some of these filmmakers that you like. I hope you get more involved in the culture, the cinema-going culture. And happy viewings. I hope that you enjoy what you do what you enjoy. I hope I'm able to help you grow in your appreciation for films or art, or just the way you see the world overall. I hope you go down the path of self-realization, self-knowledge, and just be yourself. Well, anyway, I'm Gordon Morgans. Thank you for watching Kinotherapy, and I will see you in the next Director Retrospective. Take care.